All right, and we are live, and this is another edition of the Sniper and the Pundit presents Top Rope Talk. I'm the Sniper, he's the Pundit. Oh, here you go. He's that way. He's just finishing eating and everything. So, we're here to give you the latest and greatest in professional wrestling, but also at the same time, this is a bit of a dedication episode, a remembrance episode. Not the entire episode,
A lot of it.
but we'll but we will we will get to that in a little bit, generous portion of it. um with that being said, to those of y'all who are catching us for the first time, just know that on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can catch us on there. Also, you can catch us on the streaming platforms of DBTV and Stream TV. So Jacob Christner just celebrated a birthday. How was your big day, buddy?
Oh, 45 and feel more gray. And yes, Jennifer, very much. Prayers for UNC. Yep.
I actually didn't get that news. What happened?
Yeah. Another mass shooting. Chinese
wow.
guy.
Okay.
Chinese guy shot up Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna have to tap into that. But go ahead.
Yeah, an unfortunate part. I mean, one of the things we need to do with I can just say, and thank you, Jennifer, for that, because here's the thing we need to really do before anything else. We need to really work on mental health. And I'm just saying this, and because the thing is, take away all guns tomorrow, hypothetical, there's going to be mass stabbings. There's going to be mass killings, mass beatings, mass everything. Because there are people, there's just going to be people that are tough. There's going to be a man tougher than another man somewhere, meaner than another man. It's going to be a bunch of Tank Abbots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's going to be that, and there's maybe it's not as immediate or instant, but it's still brutal, like the stabbing or beating or whatever, And we're going to get those, even if it's the gun is the thing now, but it's going to be everything later. We need mental health checks.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there are people out there that just use guns for hunting. They use guns for protection. There are, and we've got to quit this whole we got to kill guns. No. We got to get mental health out there and quick.
You do. And I've mentioned this on the Gauntlet several times, and also actually no, that was on the Pundit. You've heard me,
Yeah.
Is two things can be true. You can be a 2A supporter, but not be some lunatic that wants to go shoot up a Walmart. Like, I served in the military. I have plenty of veteran buddies who are 2A supporters and own guns, but guess what? They never feel the urge to go and shoot up a daycare or anything like that. They go hunting, they go to the range, and they protect their home. That's the extent of it, right?
And here's the thing too. It's the fact that you also, the reason it brings it out there, because you get some moron named Bubba who will be bringing his AR-15 or whatever to a Sonic to order some tater tots and go, "That's my rights." Mm-hmm. You didn't need to you're just being a moron. You didn't need to bring your AR-15 to a Sonic to show off your rights.
That's true.
This is where we get to this. We can't ever have a conversation because of morons like that. We can't have the conversation because of like, it's like, for instance, the people that are completely anti-gun, the moms against guns or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, the moms against guns, the moms demand. Yeah, moms demand. That's what it is. You can't get it like that. And it's just like the idiots that block off the highways, because of climate change. Like, that's going to help. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't have conversation because you get stupidity. This is what Pundit's Pundit and all of our stuff is. It's conversation. Get it started. Let's get this world started with that, and then we can get some common sense going.
Yes, absolutely. And for more real conversations, we do have to move it along here, but for more real conversations of that, the Pundit's Pundit on the South Florida Tribune on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll find more conversations like this, mm-hmm. among others. But in getting started here, we do have to get started. And that is, first of all, we're going to touch upon the legacy of Terry Funk, who just passed away this past week. So Terry Funk, and I was thinking about this while I was driving to go get dinner. And I'm not being a prisoner of the moment when I say this man was the top 5 hardcore legends like ever. And what put it over the top for me was the guy was he was 50 plus, still doing these hardcore matches like he was in his 20s and 30s, But quick information about him. He wrestled for numerous promotions outside of the World Wrestling Federation, World Championship Wrestling, National Wrestling Alliance. He did All Japan Pro Wrestling. He was in ECW as well, International Wrestling Association of Japan, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, USWA, Stampede Wrestling, Championship Wrestling from Florida, Georgia Championship Wrestling. He was the promoter of the Amarillo-based Western State Sports. He was ECW World Heavyweight Champion, NWA World Heavyweight Champion, USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion, WWF World Tag Team Champion, ECW World Television Champion. He headlined ECW's premier annual pay-per-view event November to Remember 3 times. He's been inducted into multiple halls of fame, among them WWE, WCW, NWA, and the Hardcore Hall of Fame. Want to pass it on to the pundit here and give us your thoughts, because we've had many conversations about the old schoolers like Terry Funk. Well, it's the opportunity right now to kind of pitch to the masses. Some of our younger viewers out there who they know all about the Roman Reigns and the Jey Usos and the Sami Zayns and everything, but
they know Terry too.
Terry Funk is somebody that we grew up on.
They knew Terry too. It's just he made himself out there. You got to realize these kids' parents were watching Chainsaw Charlie.
Right.
So they know Terry too. No. Let me say this. If the UFC was in the 70s, he'd be Tank Abbott. And it's like, I'm not saying – see, I think he'd be smarter version. But what I mean by that is he'd be Tank. He's just always up for a fight. Look at those fights in Japan with Hansen. We're going to review one in a week or two.
Hansen, yep.
You look at those fights in Japan with them. And here's the thing with Funk. You weren't ever going to get a squash match out of this guy unless he hated you. Or you were meant to do it, like if you were the underneath guy to do it. But you weren't ever going to get a squash match out of this guy, especially even if he was a babyface, heel, whatever. It did not matter. Because his whole idea was a fight. A fight. He didn't block anything. It's like, you remember WCW when he cussed out the horse for kicking him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's facing against Candido. And he knew that, here's what's funny about that. He knew he knew the horse was going to kick. Because he held down, he knew the horse was going to kick because he held, he was obvious he's from a ranch because he held down Candido's head.
Yeah.
And then he took the kick in the arm. And it was like, you God, I want to kill you, horse. You mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that kind of stuff is what gives you a legend. You're just tough. If you could take a horse kick that fast and not flinch, I mean, that is a big animal, and he didn't flinch. He took it in the arm. He didn't flinch.
Well, you're talking about a guy that was raised in Amarillo, Texas. I mean,
yeah. And well, see, and you look at Dory. I mean, Dory's it. You know what I mean? It's like, and you look at Dory. Dory and Terry were so different. They're both great wrestlers, mind you, but Dory's known as the wrestler.
Right.
Terry could wrestle too, but Terry's a fighter.
He was the fighter of the two.
No, Terry's a fighter. He just, like I said, he's the last of the breed of the people who he just wants a good fight. He doesn't want to squash you. He doesn't want to squash you. Watch those. It wouldn't be fun to him if he was that much tougher than you. He wants to go over. He wants you to nail him in the jaw, and then he wants to see how much he can take. Then he wants to give it back to you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And the reason I said Tank Abbott, he doesn't mind if he wins or loses. He just wants a good fight.
He just wants to fight. Yeah.
He just wants a good fight, and it's like it's part of his DNA. And we don't. The thing is, Harley Race was like that. This is the thing. There are people in this world. See, the UFC now is very much of a sport. That doesn't mean that these aren't tough guys. Don't get that wrong. Mm-hmm. But these are the types. These aren't the types like that. You don't go around the bars and just go into that fight on a Friday night anymore.
No.
It's like, and in truth, sometimes this world might need a few of those. I'm not saying that it's the most fun thing, but the personalities, because we live in the world of making so many people into victims. Like we talked about Jussie Smollett and
Yep.
the whole idea of him lying about getting beat up, which he's a gay actor and he didn't even think of the idea of kicking the crap out of two Nigerian bodybuilders,
Yeah.
which would have made him a gay superhero and an action hero. That fell swoop. I mean, just it didn't take that much, and
Overnight.
he'd be making hundreds of millions if he would have just done it right. But everybody has to be the victim, and in Terry Funk's world, you beat up the victim, and it's controversial, but sometimes you need this part of the world because you need all kinds of different personalities.
You do. You do. Look at Chainsaw Charlie. I remember one time during the Attitude Era. As a matter of fact, it was right before WrestleMania 14 when him and Cactus Jack were fighting, and Cactus Jack lands an elbow inside of the dumpster, and the New Age Outlaws come out there and push the dumpster off stage, and like Jim Ross like screamed like it was the worst thing that ever happened. You would have thought it was Hiroshima all over again.
Well, yeah, and they're probably both laughing in there. I mean,
Yeah.
these are. I mean, see, the thing is, Terry. The thing is, Terry just kind of fell apart after Marty died, his wife.
Hmm.
And this is what happens to a lot of men. You gotta remember, behind the man is a good woman.
That's
Behind a
true.
man like that, it's like Terry. It's like we'll just say Roger Federer could be Roger Federer in tennis because he had a wife that with two sets of twins that could take care of everything and be his manager
Right.
and let him just dominate everything he does. Terry Funk could be the badass because Marty was taking care of the smart stuff.
The smart stuff. Hmm.
Yeah, all the everything like that he could be, and he could protect the house if somebody came around there. He could do all that. He could because she did his work. There's no question he deflated and fell apart when she died.
Yeah, because she actually died a few years ago.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
and that's what happens with a lot of men. The women are there's a lot of things where the women are not put in the front like a Terry's would. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like Marty. Marty would not be in front like Terry would be. Marty Funk, but
Hmm.
they do it all. They get she probably was his manager. She probably did the.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like she probably did all. What or was no? Find that out. Was Marty Terry's or Dory's?
Um. Actually, you know what?
I was thinking
Let me
about that after
see.
I was talking.
Cause Terry Funk's wife was Vicky Weaver,
No,
married in
so then okay. So Marty was Dory's.
Marty was Dory's.
So
Yeah.
but it's like,
Vicky
but
was
they had these
they
falling
married
apart
in
too.
they married in 1965, and then she died in 2019.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like a Dory's. My apologies. But you gotta have to. But the thing you think about is that these really, really, really. It's like without these women, they don't get it done.
Hmm.
They don't get it. I've been single for so long, but part of the reason is I've wanted to also know what to do, in life along with it, and the wife be the team. And a
Hmm.
lot of the men, they're kind of and nothing against it, but they're one-dimensional life. They did all the physical work, they did all that kind of stuff, and the mental stuff came to the women. And when they die, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And
And all they've ever known was just kind of going on the road, and mind you, this was back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. So all they ever know is they go on the road, they perform, they get paid, they send the money home, pay the bills. That's how they provide. And
yeah,
mind you, this was during the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Like guys were on the road 300 plus days a year. Like you legit might get 2 weeks at home per year. And
yeah,
some wrestlers don't even see home for like 2, 3 years.
I know. And then when you are home, I mean, Hulk Hogan said it himself on Rogan. He was on Rogan,
Mm,
and he was just on Rogan the other day. He said it himself. You go home, and then you don't fit in anymore. You've been gone 10, 12 years.
yeah.
And see, biggest difference with Hulk and a lot of these guys, he knew Brooke and Nick. By the time Brooke and Nick were born, one's 89, 88, 89, one's 91, 92, he was settling down.
You know
He,
what? I'll tell you this much. You remember from the Ruthless Aggression era, you remember Nathan Jones?
Yeah, of course.
Nathan Jones quit the business because of the grueling schedule. Keep in mind, this dude served 10 years in the pen for armed robbery.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how grueling the business is. I don't know if you've ever saw Batista's "I Walk Alone" DVD a long time ago, but they actually had his ex-wife on there, and she said the sole reason why we divorced was because he was never home.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I love. And by the way, I recommend the Hogan thing with Rogan. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really. I mean, it's a lot of it. There's quite a bit of the usual Hulk Hogan makeup stories. You know,
Yeah.
that's what a wrestler is. They're carnies, but he brings up a lot of things that are true. The brings up his injuries, which are very very true. Brings up his yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true.
Agreed.
Yep, absolutely. But I'm saying Hulk stayed with it, regardless with his family. He stayed kind of there, and he gets along with his kids because he knew him.
You did.
He got to go. Like I said, by the time Brooke was 2, he was settling down. That was when he loses to the Warrior, and he's on a part-time schedule. The minute he loses the Warrior.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
And he's for the rest of his life, he was basically on a part-time schedule. And there were people there's guys that was on the road all the time. And it's like Rick was on the road for so many years straight, 300
Yeah.
days. I
Well,
mean,
also keep in mind, Hogan was in WCW at the time period. Um, Eric Bischoff was given guaranteed contracts, so whether
yeah,
you showed up or not, you were getting paid.
yeah,
Like literally, Scott Hall could be like, hey, I'm not gonna show up tonight. I'll be there next week. All right, cool, whatever. You know.
yeah.
So that actually helped out a lot, also.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like this is what happened to these wrestlers in this world. It's like, and I know it's a really good interview because it's a 3-hour interview, and it's like, of course, you get your carny, but you get the idea of why these wrestlers pass and why these wrestlers gets this way. It's like I think Terry Funk probably would. Terry wouldn't have lasted much longer whether he wrestled or not, or stopped wrestling or not. Because remember, he was gonna retire in '83.
Yeah.
Fight forever, fight forever, fight forever. But the thing is, I think he might have died even earlier if he didn't wrestle. It's like there are just men that need the endorphins.
They do. Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like strangely enough that one binge alcoholic that literally needs to keep drinking to stay healthy. Yes, it is possible. Because if they quit, their system will shut down.
Oh, and that's true. And I wanted to say another thing from that interview. I wanted to bring that up. It's like he actually had a part on his thing where he talked about there will be times at 8 o'clock at night. Hulk, there's
Hmm.
times at 8 o'clock at night when he's getting because like this is around the time. It's kind of like PTSD in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
kind of like PTSD anyway. It'd be 8 o'clock at night, and he'll have a flashback to like he's like playing cards with Andre, and then all of a sudden 10 minutes later, he get kicked in the head in the ring, and
Yeah.
it's endorphins. It's an endorphin rush, and there was military people that were talking about it, and they said this is kind of the equivalent of the people in war. And it's like I was going to ask you about that because it's the people in war, and then it's constant fighting, constant everything, and then it's just kind of like there's so much chaos inside of your body. He has to go down. He has to do 2 workouts a day, one in the morning and then at the evening, because he's getting so much chaos inside of him from all those years of doing that.
Yeah. Whenever things get too quiet, they start like getting kind of jittery, like it's just too quiet. What's going on? It unfortunately that's the effects of war and what it
And I'm
causes.
just saying that's probably what happened to a lot of wrestlers, and then they try to quiet it down with drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like anybody anything else. But well, do want to get on to the second half of our dedication part of the episode, and that is the passing of Bray Wyatt. He actually died the next day. Um, so what ended up happening was officially he had died of a heart attack because
In
he had
his
a heart
sleep.
condition.
In his sleep.
He had caught COVID and it jump started his heart condition again, and ultimately he passed away from it is in his sleep. But he was known, and see, and you know, and I think a lot of people share my sentiment when I say that this man was the modern day face of fear, as the title suggests. I told people at the time period, even back at WrestleMania 31 when he faced the Undertaker, I was like, He's gonna be the new Dark Man. Undertaker has terrorized the business for so many years. Bray Wyatt is next man up, and he passed that torch onto Bray Wyatt and everything. And Bray Wyatt, and he brought his own in two different personas. It's not like he was not trying to be the Undertaker like to a T. He was just that face of terror. But he was the leader of the Wyatt family alongside another late member, Luke Harper, aka Brody Lee, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. He is a three-time world champion, winning the WWE title once, Universal Champion twice. He also held a SmackDown Tag Team Championships with Luke Harper and Randy Orton, and he was Raw Tag Champion with Matt Hardy. So, and then
that did not make any sense whatsoever. But that's
creative
for you.
Enjoyable.
That's creative for you.
Yeah, and then during this telecast, we're not going to have a SmackDown recap because while there were matches on there, kind of because the program has to have matches, it wasn't that big of a deal. There weren't really game-changing matches. The majority of the program was a Bray Wyatt dedication. So we will say that on WWE SmackDown, it pretty much was SmackDown is Bray. The wrestlers came out on their entryway. They held a 10-bell salute for both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Camera pans to and this is a chilling moment as well as a somber moment. But the camera pans to an empty rocking chair as the crowd is singing. He's got the whole world in his hands. And then at the end of the I actually ended up replaying this clip. But after LA Knight won his match and he was walking out for the last time, they did Bray Wyatt's entrance where like the lights kind of break down and the music breaks down and everything and malfunctions. And then everyone activated their camera phones to mimic the Fireflies one last time. And then there was on a Titantron, there was a silhouette of Bray Wyatt walking away, and in the center of the ring was his lit lantern in a smoke-filled ring. But I want to pass it on to the pundit here and give us your thoughts on the late Bray Wyatt and his legacy.
The greatest thing that I absolutely loved about Bray's was the Firefly Funhouse.
Yes.
And then see, Firefly Funhouse is why I get agitated at creative. Because it was such... If anybody has this proves it to me that these are nothing but failed writers in Hollywood. They're garbage. And it's like, this is the point I was trying to get to everyone. It's like, what a good writer would have done with Firefly Funhouse? Remember, he was facing with Seth Rollins. What if Seth Rollins goes after him? It goes to the back and go find him, and Funhouse doesn't exist. It's all in their head. What if it doesn't? But it doesn't exist. It's all in their head, and you'll keep seeing the Funhouse on a TV screen, but it doesn't exist. Instead, Seth has to go back there and go destroy the Funhouse like it's the flower shop in Piper. And I mean, and it's like you just do not have any kind of imagination whatsoever. I think even Bray would have been like, yes.
But but to their credit though, the Firefly Funhouse was unique because even I didn't co-sign for it at first, and then I was like, no, this is not the Bray that I know, But then I was like, oh no, wait a second, they're doing some like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of business going. Okay, I kind of dig it. The Firefly Funhouse, you can.
I knew it. I knew he was going to it because he was nuts.
But you know what? You can put it up there with Piper's Pit, Heartbreak Hotel, Miz TV. You can put it up there with any other legendary segments. The Funeral Parlor.
Oh yeah, but no. My thing is, I would have had it not exist in the mind, and it keeps showing up on TV screens, but you can't find it. Yeah. It's like I wouldn't have had Seth destroy this. That was dumb. It's like this whole idea of Bray Wyatt is he's in your head. You don't have the thing exist. This is why writers suck. But the thing about Bray, he was so athletic. He was so athletic. I saw the whole video of Seth trying to do the backwards thing, but he couldn't backbend.
He couldn't do it.
He couldn't backbend. He had to hold on to the ropes to do the thing. He couldn't backbend. I mean, this is a very athletic Seth Rollins. But he also has a bad back, too, but you get my point. But I'm like, this is an exceptionally very, very, very athletic big man. And then he had an awesome finisher. And He had an awesome finisher. He had awesome. I mean, and it's like what you could have done. You could have done. This is another thing about creative. You could have made him a very dangerous babyface. A very, like you could.
You know what? At one point, they kind of did.
Yeah, but it's like they weren't. They didn't make it. They didn't make it official. Not really.
Well, it was one of those things where the fans kind of made him a face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I'm just saying though, if you can write it, if you do it right, okay, you book it right. I mean, he is a very dangerous babyface.
Of course.
And it's like, I mean, you get to this thing, and it's like, and it's kind of like Arn Anderson with the Rock and Roll Express over in some Smoky Mountain. You call him. They don't like each other, but you call him.
Yeah.
And it's simple and put, and it's like you could have done so much with that. You could have done so much with Bray, and he doesn't need. Bray could have been a very goth, very Louisiana version of Stone Cold.
Interesting.
There's just like it's not more straight ahead. It's more rhymes and poems and stuff like that. But a very dangerous dude.
Yeah, I mean, like a backwoods, back swamp type character. And there really isn't anybody else in history. I mean, I'm sure there's been some country bumpkins come along. I guess you would. I guess to a certain extent you could call Bray Wyatt at least the Eater of Worlds gimmick. You can call him Hillbilly Jim with an extreme mental problem.
Well, you know what I would have done? I would call him a way better version of Waylon Mercy. I loved the idea of Waylon Mercy. I think Spivey did a great job to start it, but his hips were so bad by that point. He couldn't even move anymore. There was a part when he was faced off against Savio Vega where he was supposed to be on the attack. He was supposed to attack at the beginning, and he was so slow. Savio had to change his mind and just attack him back. Yeah. He was so slow. It's like, I can't even do this. I can't even do it. They had to change up in the thing, and that's what killed Waylon Mercy. But the idea was awesome because it was from Cape Fear. It was from Cape Fear, and it was based on Cape Fear. And Bray Wyatt was Cape Fear.
Yeah,
he was Cape Fear. He was De Niro Cape Fear. He was Mitchum Cape Fear. I think it was Mitchum, from the original. Right. But it's like he was that. It's no question he's a horror film fan. He was a horror film fan.
I mean, if you look at The Fiend legit looks like a villain from Spawn. He looks like somebody Spawn fought.
Well, what made him? You know what made him, Bray? He's a big, big man.
Right. Big. Now, you could say that about every other wrestler, but
No, there's a lot of small ones. It's like you had the idea. Okay, remember TNA? When they had that one, I forget who it was. That one guy who ends up going and attacking Abyss comes out of the ring, attacks Abyss. You remember who it was?
I can't remember who it was.
But see, what happened was no one knew because he caught Abyss sitting down. But then when Abyss stood up, he was way smaller.
Oh,
that's what the idea of is. That's exactly what Bray could have been. Mm-hmm. That's what Bray could have been if you do it right from TNA. That guy who, this monster that can go up with this. He's about the same damn size.
Yeah, they are. I mean, shoot, like just think. A dream match, and I'm going to say this and then we'll move on to the next topic. A dream, I wouldn't even say dream WrestleMania. Think about this for a second. A dream SummerSlam match. The Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt versus 1997 Mankind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And truthfully, here's another one. Bray Wyatt versus what was the I'm trying to think what was their Undertaker's and the Attitude Era? What was that? What was his faction?
The Ministry of Darkness.
Ministry. Yeah. That could Ministry Undertaker versus Bray.
Bray, yeah.
That it's like it's one of those. Here's an idea that of course Vince Russo couldn't think of it because he stunk. He sucks at this. But what you could have done is you could have had him hang on the cross and start laughing.
Yeah.
And then that would have, he's like, he loves it, and he's nuts. And then that really starts it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, having grown up on Terry Funk and everything, and then also being a big fan of Bray Wyatt, we do want to say, thanks for the memories, our thoughts and prayers to both of their
And look,
families.
and they just lost, and 4 kids just lost a dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like at 36 years old, and this is what I have to say is COVID.
Mhm.
COVID is the toughest thing because there'll be people like, oh, he caught COVID. WWE was nothing but masks and 6 feet and no crowds, and he catches it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him many times. They showed on the thing, mask. He catches it anyway, and in one case, he's got the heart problem, so you can see where he would try to protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you got the heart problems. COVID is basically the thing for it's a heart virus.
Yeah.
And it will. Oh, go ahead.
And now you see why Roman Reigns stepped away for 5 months when it first hit.
Absolutely, and you see that you see this part. In the other case, can you? Oh, and I'm just saying this as a thing. We could probably do this on Pundit one night. Can you overprotect yourself to the point where you get sick?
Yeah.
What's the different things you do? And it's like we're gonna find. Unfortunately, because the media is crooked, we'll find out in about 10 years. It's like now you said it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very true. Well, let's move on to our next topic here, and that is our WWE Raw results from August the 21st. So some of the highlights that happened: Chad Gable defeated WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther by count out. Incidentally, that was the biggest pop I'd heard for a count out in a really long time, but also because it gave Gunther his first loss. I know you probably disagree with that. Now I'll hear your words here in a second. In the main event, Rhodes, Zayn, and Owens had a victory over the Judgment Day. But you know what? The tag team titles have been forgotten about. Is it time that they start addressing the tag team championships?
Yeah, but get the real ones back, not that crappy ones. But not the crappy ones. But no, the biggest thing about Gable is how I would do that. The count out thing isn't what gets me. They did it right here, knowing they just set it up for Gunther to kick the crap out of him.
Yeah.
In a big match. It's the unfortunate part because they have zero creativity. That's why it's funny called creative. But if you're going to do that, have Gunther win 3 in a row in a best of 7 and the first win be that for Gable. Mm-hmm. Then Gable, the first win be that, be the second one a roll up, a third one be the decisive for Gable. And then number 7 at a pay-per-view.
Ooh.
Number 7 at a pay-per-view. It could be Royal Rumble or thing, depending on which. But see, the first one, it's 3-0. What if Gunther's dominating again? You've got the announcer saying, he's got guts, he's got everything. And then he just keeps kicking out. We got it. And all of a sudden, that finish.
Yeah.
And then the celebration, and then that pop. That would have made it more. Then that would have really made it more. And instead, you just set up a pay-per-view match where Gunther's going to beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know, though. I mean, I can't help but think maybe they may have him hold the belt until Survivor Series. But I don't know how their format's going to be, if they're going to do like the champion versus champion thing. Because incidentally, he would go up against the U.S. champion. And right now, the U.S. champion is Rey Mysterio.
Oh, what are you talking about, Gunther?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd rather see Gable and Mysterio.
That'd be better, right?
That would be. No, I want to see Gable and Mysterio 2006 Mysterio. That'd be without his knees being gone.
You know what? You know what? How about this? Take away the whole champion versus champion element. Put all the titles on the line again at Survivor Series. And if you have to do brand versus brand, you have traditional Survivor Series matches, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, men's and women's. No, all the other belts, put them on the line again.
No, you want to know what I would? You want to know what I would do? Which would be an awesome idea. That men and women both can do it if they want to. One of the things, have WWE do their own Super J Cup. put
Oh,
all
that'd be nice.
their belts up.
Like old Night of Champions.
Yeah, and then have them all put up. One guy can win it, so it can look like Severn when he had all those damn belts.
Oh wow, yeah. Ultimo Dragon.
When he had the end, yeah. But when he had the NWA belt, 2 UFC belts, and the you know what I'm saying? He had 4 belts at once. Have that, and then get a heel champ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, could you imagine Gunther with all of them?
Yeah.
Gunther with all of them, and then you could bring Roman Reigns in.
But see, here's the thing, though. Wouldn't that be more fitting for Roman Reigns since he's already Thanos, the belt collector already?
Well, it could be either way, but my big thing is, what if you, for instance, what if you start getting little by little, whoever is all the champ, what if you get him to start taking his belts little by little? It could be kind of like, okay, he has the Euro title. Let's just say Euro title. I mean, it's not. But, you know, what if he has the U.S. championship? What if he has this? What if Gable takes that in an upset? Then he'll be like, I didn't want that anyway. I have too much weight in my bag. You know, that kind of deal. And then you could have this. I still have this and this. I have the Intercontinental. I held the tag team by myself. You know, I can pick my own and all that kind of stuff. But what if he loses the tag team championships? Then the facade is starting to chop away.
Right.
The facade starting to chop away. You could do something like this with Roman or whoever it is until they only have the world title left, and then he gets vicious because he has to keep it.
Yeah, that is true. You know, it's kind of like, okay, perfect example, right? So you remember toward the end of the baseball year last year, the race in the National League East, and the Mets had like this 10-game lead down the stretch, and then the Braves started chipping away at that lead, and then ultimately they ended up winning the division, and the Mets got the wild card.
Yep. But I'm just saying, what if you didn't? What if you? Oh, hello, the Thunder. No.
I was seeing it going off back there, and I was like, "Yo, is it about to storm?"
No, but it's like, no, but what could you just imagine? I would love to be able to have a wrestling thing just to do that kind of deal. What if you took the arrogance slowly chipped away by taking all those belts away? And it's like, he's got all the confidence because he got them all. He can keep them all for about 6 months. But what if you just start chipping away at him? It could start with, I didn't want that one anyway, but then he keeps losing them. Mm-hmm. And like I said, then he could become way more vicious to keep the big belt. He has to keep the big belt, and he gets more vicious and mean and cheating and everything. It can be the wrestling version of Donald Trump, doing everything you have to try to keep your power.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's like, or whatever you can be able to get. And I'm like, that's why I love this show, because I come up with these ideas all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's something like, it almost is like, once he gets down to the last title, I'm saying this, we got to move on. When he gets down to the last title, you're going to see the most dangerous version of him, you know?
Because he can't lose it. He doesn't want to lose it.
He don't want to lose it, yeah. And see, you know, one time I heard a criticism about Drew McIntyre back when he was WWE champion. And one of the biggest criticisms was he was more dangerous chasing the title than with the title. But if you think about it, isn't that every other world champion? There's been only one man in recent years to become more dangerous as champion, and that was Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And half of that is because he won another world title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you get it. And by the way, let's bring up Rhodes, Zane Owens over Ginger Day. You want to know what I hate about Vince's WWE and WWF and whatever? He is the most delusional person when it comes. If every other thing in the whole wide world, doubles tennis, I'm a tennis fan. Doubles tennis, Federer, and they always put the teams, these magical teams, Federer and Nadal together against the doubles champs. Doubles champs end up winning every time. It's like, they put these things right there because the doubles is such a different thing where you have to have camaraderie and chemistry. And it's the same with teams. Oh, let's put Jordan and LeBron together. It will work if you know they have chemistry.
Right.
It's like, and this is the point I'm saying. Why are Rhodes, Zayn, and Owens beating a team that's been together a year and a half? Always together, barely singles, or they're together when it is a single. They know each other's moves. They know everything. Why are three random? Okay, Zayn and Owens are they were tagged. You know what I mean? They're tag. You know what I'm saying? They're together.
Mm-hmm.
Rhodes, Cody's not with them. Where's the chemistry to that? That's my point.
That's true.
So it's like, that's the thing. Why are these three? And that's what Vince always makes a mistake on. It's like, because he doesn't like that thing. It's like, why would, truthfully, why? I mean, that's why they did it good with Hogan and Savage, because they just put it against two other singles guys.
Right.
But it's like, why would Hogan and Savage ever beat Demolition? Hypothetical. It's like they're two singles guys against tag team specialists. Why would they even beat the Rockers? And I'm just saying, truthfully, when these are guys that double team each other all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're double teaming everybody, and they're always in and out and in and out. Why would Hogan and Savage, the Mega Powers, why would they ever beat a tag team special when they're two singles guys?
Yeah.
And they acted like it. And it's like, they just acted two powerful singles guys that just wanted to team up. But why would you do that? And that's the point of what I'm trying to bring up here. Why are you beating three guys that are always together with a woman who are always together?
Now, in playing devil's advocate in what you just said, before the Outsiders were a tag team, what were they?
Razor and Diesel.
Yeah, they were two singles guys who won championships that teamed up.
Yeah.
And well, they're in my top 5. I don't know about anybody else.
Oh, well, they acted. Here's the thing, though. They really did, and truthfully, they did wonderful as a tag, because they cut off the ring. They cut off their half of the ring. They acted like big guys. Mm-hmm. They did heel crap. You know, they were, you know, even though they did woo, you know, that kind of stuff.
And you know what? I know I'm playing devil's advocate by asking that, but I will say this much. A lot of the reason why they work so well as a tag team is because they were real life best friends.
Yeah. No, they knew each other. And it's like, I think it's probably why, truthfully, Doom was so good, Ron and Butch. It's just, I don't know how much great a friend they were, but it's just like camaraderie. You know, it's like three black guys in the whole locker room. You just have camaraderie. you're gonna be together all the time because there's no one else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like they probably. I want to see. I wish we would have seen Doom versus Harlem Heat.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. On that note, we do have to move on to our next topic, and that is. But that should be a future topic, most definitely.
Yeah.
This is our NXT recap from August the 22nd. So Trick Williams took Dragunov to the limit. I think he surprised a lot of people in the match that he held. Dragunov ultimately came up with the victory. Carmelo Hayes got his retribution and retained the NXT championship over Wes Lee. But I did want to shed some light on one other wrestler, and that's Braun Breaker. And this is a wrestler who, you know, well, aside from Carmelo Hayes, a lot of people have deemed as the best wrestler in NXT for some time, but it's almost kind of like he's been milling around without a job. But here you have this guy with so much talent. Do you think it's time for him to finally move on?
No.
Time for him to move on to Raw or SmackDown?
No, I think it's time to put NXT back to the black and white, quit this ridiculousness that you have at turning bright, and make Braun Breaker the name of the NXT. Because they're not going to do a dang thing with him in Raw SmackDown. Not a thing. They're not going to do anything with this. And it's like my biggest. I mean, this is the. And by the way, what was I saying about Hayes and Wesley? The league. What did I say about their booking?
Oh, yeah. From
what
last
did
week.
I say? But the thing is, I can't think of Braun because it's because of stupid creative. I can't think of Braun Breaker without the stupidest possible idea of the kidnapping a live Rick Steiner. Yeah, and him having to pretend he's scared. Yeah, right. I don't care how old someone gets. You absolutely cannot take the fight out of a guy like Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's the thing. Knock him out. Okay, have him fight off a little and lose. He's old. But that was dumb. Tied up. It's like, yeah, right. Never believed it. It was stupid. You didn't need it to put Braun over. It was dumb. But it was stupid. But the biggest thing is Braun Breaker would be amazing in original NXT.
Oh yeah.
Amazing in original NXT. This NXT I watch for you and for the show. I can't stand it. It's
Wow.
we have to make colors. We have to make it brighter. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's like the whole point of NXT was the dark. You couldn't see. You couldn't see the crowd, even when they had the 13, 15.
This is back when Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and everybody was in there. That like NXT was underground.
Well, it was. Here's the thing: even with 15,000 people, you couldn't see the crowd until they went to the crowd.
Yeah,
you couldn't see the thing. It was dark.
It had a true indie feel to it.
Indie feel, true. Let's see. What was the thing? Just like the old day 70s. Just like the old day the territories.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not everything has to be colorful
and bright. Yeah,
and bright. It doesn't all have to be this way. What makes NWA when you watch it with Arn versus Barry Windham or something like young Barry Windham, like Arn Anderson versus that? What makes it? It's gritty. They look like they're fighting.
Absolutely.
It's what makes UFC the original, even though they had to change because of John McCain, the absolute prick. But I'm like absolute paid off prick. No, but this is the thing. This is what made it so much. It had a darker. It had some blood on the mat. It had the thing. Yeah, you had to change it, but not everything has to be bright.
Very true.
It's like not every detail has to be something you see on TikTok. There are so many different people in this world. There are people that like tough guys. There are people that like Fozzy. I don't know why, but no. There's people that like Fozzy. There's people that liked and I'm just saying. There's people that liked Kurt Cobain, and they like being victims. But there's people that like, huh?
They like what they like.
Yeah, there's people that like Flip Flop and Fly Ray. The Ray material, and they like it, all that kind of stuff. And there's people that like people that sell all the time. That's why they like Macho Man over Hogan. Yeah. Macho Man sold excessively. Hogan was superhero. But some people like superhero though. There's all kinds of different. But when you keep doing the brightness of everything, you're limiting audiences. Mm-hmm. There are people that want to see a bit of tough and grit.
Of course. That's why Gunther is so. That's why Gunther is so celebrated. There's nothing flashy about the man at all. He is this big brute that hits hard and slams hard.
He should be a bigger brute. He should have that weight on him still.
Yes.
I mean I'm not fond of the weight loss. I'm not. It's like he just looked like an old school pub fighter with that gut, with the big old thing. He looked like it's just a big old pub fighter that can go all day.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want an athletic Gunther. I don't want that. It's like because he could still you got him athletic for the television, for brightness or whatever, for flash. You got him for that. You did. It wasn't for his. He had stamina all day long with the weight.
Okay. Yeah.
He look at his match with Dragunov. Look at his match with Dragunov. He went 47? They went 47 minutes with all that weight.
Yeah. That was insane. That was an insane match right there. But we do have to move on. We got about 11 minutes left in the show, so real quick. And that is to those of y'all who saw the extravaganza, I was fortunate enough to have watched it. AEW All-In London, short recap. And let's see, a few notes here. MJF and Adam Cole in All In Dark captured the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. Soraya wins the AEW Women's title in front of her home crowd. MJF retained the world title versus Adam Cole in the main event. CM Punk retained the Real World Championship against Adam Cole, amongst a bunch of other great matches. But And I didn't get a chance. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it or watch some clips or read about it. But is it time for an Adam Cole heel turn?
For to get an MJF, to get an MJF psychotic.
Yeah.
Yes, I would bring that up last week.
Mm-hmm.
Let him get psychotic because he actually trusts someone, then they turn on him.
That's true.
And it's like they turn on him. It's like, this is so needed. And Saraya, good for her. Good for her. And it's like, see, remember when we brought up 2 weeks ago about what was our we were bringing up about the women, how much better they are,
Right.
how much physically stronger they are, but it's different with a man versus a woman. Remember Saraya? I mean, she's been doing this since she was 13 years old. She's as tough as it gets.
True.
But she had to call the cops 3-4 times on Alberto Del Rio. He's 265 pounds.
Right.
He's 265. That doesn't make her not tough.
Makes her realistic.
It's just realistic here. She's about what? She's $125. That's like, she's $125. Does that mean because she called the cops does it mean she's not tough? No. She's been doing this since she was 13 years old. She's as tough as it gets. There's gonna be men out there that are not trained that she's gonna beat the crap out of.
Yeah, this isn't a Fast and the Furious film where Gina Carano or Michelle Rodriguez is gonna take on 250-pound brutes and kick the crap out of them. No, this isn't.
No.
This isn't a film that Vin Diesel's in.
No, and it's like, and that. Well, you got to remember. Remember, Vin Diesel also lifted a car from a helicopter and slammed it into the helicopter.
Right.
I mean, so you got to realize. But this is the point I make. No, I don't have I'm not going to play him. There's people calling me misogynist for what I say that a woman cannot beat up a man. It's just because of physiology. I say it all the time. You've heard me all the time. Women are as tough as it gets. I am completely for them. But we got to get real. We got to quit this. Like I said, she had to call the cops on Alberto 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. Maybe more. I mean, look how monstrous he was. Look how enormous he was. I mean, and plus a bad temper.
Yeah. I mean, at some point in time, just like you said, it's like people have to take biology. Take Layla Ali in her prime, okay? Now put her in a ring against a 53-year-old Mike Tyson right now. How do you think that fight's going to end?
Oh, it's going to be a murder. It's going to be a murder.
He would go back to prison.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it'll be a murder. And I'm not kidding you. Fedor Emelianenko wanted to have Mike a short thing in the just recently. We tried to challenge him in a boxing match. I'm like, Fedor's one of the baddest asses on the planet, but you wanted him in boxing? That is you saw his hands 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
You saw Mike's hands 2-3 years ago. It'd be a murder. I mean, he absolutely he sliced up Roy Jones Jr., who'd been out of the ring 2 years. He was out of the ring 20 years, and he sliced up Roy. He was out 15 years, and he sliced up Roy Jones like nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like that would have been a murder. And then there's that woman's fighter who wants to have an exhibition match with a man's fighter that he's going to beat him. I forget what the names are. If that man fighter gets pissed, she's gone in one hit.
Yeah.
And it's like this doesn't make her not a good fighter.
It's just being realistic.
I'm just trying to be realistic with the things. Why you do need a men's division and a women's division, and there are badass women.
Yeah.
And those badass women will beat up on untrained men. They'll beat them up all day. Mm-hmm. They will all day. I mean, you see some of them. You see some of them moves they do at AEW. They are athletic.
Yes, very.
Yeah, but if you have a trained guy,
not happening.
No, I mean Roman Reigns is 265 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. I don't want to see him bumping for. I don't want to see him bumping for Rhea Ripley. She's still 160. She's still 160, 170.
At the end of the day, yeah, he outweighs around 100 pounds. But we do have to move on real quick here. We got about 6 minutes. So, quick note: AEW All-In London 23 broke the world record for most paid attendance with 81,035 tickets sold, surpassing the record for both WWE WrestleMania 32 and the WWF 1992 SummerSlam held at Wembley Stadium, ironically. And at the end of the telecast, during the celebration, the announce team announced that AEW will return to London next year on August 25th for All-In London 2024. Your thoughts on this?
Can we just quit the stupid people online? Like, I go after Chicago Bears fans all the time because they flat out delusions ruined Justin Fields. I brought that up 1,000 times. But I'm going to do this right now. Quit the delusions of AEW can't sell tickets. The WWE fans say, AEW can't sell a ticket. I don't derp. Obviously they can. They did. That should have stopped when they sold 15,000 tickets for the first show. They did it again. WWE. WWE has their fans. People want different. Some want different. NWA's still around because they want that small little deal in there. You know what I mean? A small little place, and they want the thing. People want different. So leave AEW alone. If you want to enjoy it, enjoy it. It's awesome.
Right.
And I'm glad for them that they got that because wrestling needs competition.
Yes, it does. And so now for our...
What do you think of it? What did you think of it?
I thought it was amazing. I think now, and I'm not sitting here saying that they're automatically on the level of WWE right now. They would have years and years to catch up. But I think now, definitely, eyes have woken up a little bit around WWE. It's like, hang on a second. These guys just had their first overseas gig, and they sold out and broke world records. That cannot be ignored. And
one more question. What were you going to say first? I'll ask. Then I'll ask.
No, I watched the entire pay-per-view. It was, if a lot of people called it a 5 out of 5, I wouldn't blame them.
Well, and you know something, no? You ever listen to Cornette's podcast?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I see. I'll listen to the clips because he goes off the bend more than I do.
Yeah.
But thing about it is, at some point, he's acting every bit of 60 now. He's acting it because he's got an amazing wrestling. He has got an amazing wrestling knowledge. Phenomenal booking because he booked two great things with two great places with the Smoky Mountain and OVW. He booked some amazing things in both of those. So he can talk and he can get it. But this is the only thing I have to say with Cornette. He gets mad at them for having stupidity, but there's enough fans out there that want the stupid, unfortunately. And I agree with the thing; it's unfortunate. But if he's going to keep complaining, I know he doesn't want to leave Louisville. Just start your own Smoky Mountain somewhere close. I mean, 5 miles from home. Start your own OVW thing like you used to have. You know he's making money like mad.
Oh yeah.
Off that thing now. Have Brian Last help do anything. Start the thing up again where you have your wrestling. Because I promise you, he'd fill up small little stands again with his. Because the Cold Cornette is huge. But why do you have to fill it up with people by saying, wrestling not that used to be? Create it one more time. I mean, instead of complaining about that thing, create yours one more time. They could be 5 miles from home.
Right.
And I guarantee you will fill up the stands every time. You can go to Knoxville you can go with Knoxville as far. That is as far as you would go. He doesn't have to go anywhere anymore. He's rich to do what he wants. But as long as he's continuing to do this, he sounds like an old man. And you don't want Cornette being old. He started when he was 21 years old.
He'd been in it. He'd been in it for quite a long while. All right, okay, real quick. Let me get these guys out of here for Monday Night Raw. All right, our weekly finish or DQ. The Rock's grooming for future WWF champion began with the Nation of Domination. Now, in that, let me break this down. If you choose DQ, then that is what it is. If you choose finish, mind you, this is not a year later when he took over the Nation of Domination from Farouk. This was from day one in 97 when he set foot in the Nation.
Yes. I mean, for one thing, the original Nation of Domination was absolute garbage. It was. Let's see, Crush. Yeah, He's crushed. Nothing like a white supremacist biker as a Black Power. Sweet. Yeah, sweet. And then you get JC Ice and PG-13. Those two wimps. Jamie Dundee. Those two wimps. Put them in there. These are guys who want to be black.
Yeah.
And then you slipped D'Lo in there a little bit. It just was terrible. Then what do you get? Mark Henry, The Rock. You get every. It's like it changed overnight, and then Rock became that.
Yeah.
And so yes, absolutely a finish.
I mean, The Rock had the look from day one.
Yeah.
He was former defensive end, former athlete, 6'5", 275. He was Vince's prototypical look. It was just a matter of refining him. But yeah, I think since the day he set foot in, they were like, yeah, you're going to be WWF champion one day. We're going to aim for 2 years or 1 year.
And one big, and I know you're right. And by the way, I was going to say real fast what we once had. We've run out of time. We'll go into it more next week. But I wanted to say really quickly what one of my topics was. It was going to be what would I do to Twitch? Switch, I like to help with a storyline that I love from the history. I'll give it to you right now. We can talk more about next week. I was saying the Hulk and Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think this way would have filled the Coliseum. Hulk Slaughter, the Hulk has to deal with Earthquake. He gets Earthquake, and then he gets the count out. Then he's got to face Earthquake. Earthquake's got help, and he's about to get attacked. Slaughter comes in to save him.
Okay.
And Slaughter becomes his tag team partner. Then Slaughter turns on him. Then
and that's how it happens.
Then he becomes the Iraqi sympathizer. No, never made sense that he just came in as an Iraqi sympathizer. It's like, what if he comes in? Because everybody knew Sergeant Slaughter from G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. What if he's G.I. Joe Slaughter? He comes in. They come in with Real American. It goes everything. Then a big pay-per-view turns on him.
Yeah.
Or it turns on him with one of the things, kind of like with Mean Gene. One of those things that he turns on him. Then he becomes the Iraqi, and then you burn the shirt right in front of him while he's laying there. He's laying there. I think all that sells the Coliseum.
Yeah. No, absolutely, especially given the time period. And we'll go ahead and do it real quick. We got about a minute left. The one thing that I would change is go back to the 2001 invasion angle. And you said I can do anything, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would not have Benoit or Triple H injured. I think Triple H goes to the Alliance side and Benoit is on the WWF side. Especially since seeing as Stone Cold went to the Alliance side anyway, they already were the two-man power trip the same year before all of that happened, before Triple H got injured. So you got to think, you got Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin who are helping run things over there besides Triple H's wife. Stephanie is over there as well. So it lines up perfect. Benoit, he would have been awesome over there on Team WWF. I did entertain the idea of if you would have switched the two, but it just fit better having Triple H as a heel at that time period, especially since a good amount of time that Triple H was heel, he was with the faction, you know?
What about Radicals, the whole Radicals on WWF side? You know, the Benoit, the Guerrero, Malenko, everything like that. It's showing the WWF that they're moving into the future.
Yes.
While the two-man power trips on one side, the other side, and then the future is the Radicals.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. This has maybe have to be something that we got to revisit, but I do have Monday Night Raw on TV, and I'm sure everyone's tuning in.
So I go off the beat path. I apologize, man.
No. It's all good. We're just 3 minutes over. No big deal. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in to Top Rope Talk. You can also find this episode on Sideline Sports on YouTube. Also, hit that like and subscribe button for Sideline Sports. Catch us also on Facebook. Follow us there, as well as on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Oh, look at that payback. Damon Priest and Finn Balor for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Wow. As we bring this up. This is what, their first tag defense in 4 months? Anyway.
They're going to turn on one of them's going to turn on the other. Who cares?
Yeah, pretty much. Also,
Who
follow us on
are they
LinkedIn.
facing, by the way, at Payback?
Damian Priest and Finn Balor.
Oh no, are they tagging together?
They're tagging together. They got a tag
Against
title
who?
shot versus
Against who?
against Zayn and Owens.
Oh,
Zayn and
okay,
Owens are
okay,
defending against them. Yeah.
No, it's gonna be a turn on. They'll get turned on.
Okay.
Zayn and Owens gonna keep that. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. No, but at least they're defending the tag titles again. I haven't seen a tag defense in a while, but
I hate the belts. I hate the belts. It's like
it's time to do it. It's time to, you know what? I'm gonna say this. We gotta go off the air. If they're gonna change all the older belts around, then do this. Make one the WWE tag titles, the other the World Tag titles, just like you had during the Ruthless Aggression era, excuse me, because it's obvious that Triple H is trying to bring that era back in some form.
Well, he's doing a great job.
Yes, he is. But anyway, for the Sniper and the Pundit, this is Top Rope Talk. We will see you all on Monday.